Oh, I guess I should unmute me, huh? Oh, that works so much better when I don't mute. You see, this is what happens when I don't have a producer. I do my own crap, and I should know better. But okay, so let me start from the beginning, because I know I'm going to probably running out of time. I only got about 2 hours to do this. I'm going to try to keep it down to 2 hours because Dapper Dino and Chesire have a charity stream to do afterwards, doing some D&D. So I know I always say that I'm going to keep it down to like 90 minutes and ends up being 3 hours. So I'm going to break this down to about 3 parts. I know a lot of you probably are familiar with my history of Mr. Atheist. A lot of you are not. So I figure I'm going to do this in 3 separate parts. I'm going to do a first part, which is basically the too long, didn't read, don't care part, where I'll just kind of inform you guys of a general overview of my history of Mr. Atheist and his interactions with the non-sequitur show. Then I'm going to go into my blog, which was my part 2 from an open letter that I wrote Jimmy. I guess it's been well over a year ago. I don't remember the exact date. I had it somewhere before, but I don't remember what it was. And I'm not going to go look. But this was more of an open letter to everybody else because this wasn't directly towards Jimmy. So... and after that, I'm going to probably dive into a little bit about the Gabbie Hayes and, Gabbie Hannas. See, I don't even know her name. That's how much I care about her. Gabbie Hanna and Rachel Oates debacle, or as I like to say, kerfluffle. I love that word, kerfluffle. It's so much better, isn't it? But I'm going to try to do that in 3 parts. So the first part is, so for those who don't know, I actually was friends with Mr. Atheist at one time. I could tell you from a personal level, he could be very, very pleasant sometimes, and we've had some good conversations. Unfortunately, I've subsequently learned over the years that's complete facade. That's not who he actually is. He is exactly what most people are now learning he is, that he is a manipulative, narcissistic, self-absorbed, self-aggrandizing, patronizing gatekeeper for all things that are, LGBTQ plus kind of things. And it's unfortunate. I had a long-standing policy that, look, I don't block many people unless they come after me to troll me or things of that nature. And I still got along with Mr. Atheist for some period of time after the falling out with the non-sequitur show and Kyle, which I'll get into in a second. But that's why I wrote my open letter to him. But for those who don't know, a long time ago, I had a show called The Non-Sequitur Show. My co-host was Kyle Curtis, who just recently was featured in the 9 Worst YouTubers That Need to Stop by a creator known as The Creepy Reading. He did a brilliant video calling him out, as well as another creator that I've had issues with, was called Creepshow Art. Most people are probably familiar with her by now, because she did some really horrific stuff. But it's coming around again that, Jimmy was involved in that kerfluffle with the non-sequitur show, because the Creepy Reading had noted that Jimmy was involved in that, because after I had issued a cease and desist to Kyle to not stream to the channel any longer, and that he had illegally took it over and kicked me and the producer Bullinator off the show, he continued to stream to the channel, and not just to the channel, but he dual streamed to Jimmy's channel as well, back when he had the name Mr. Atheist. And I knew full well that Mr. Atheist knew that Kyle and I were partners. We had long since had many conversations with Mr. Atheist, even when we were a podcast. And this before, I think even Jimmy had his YouTube channel, I'm mistaken. I think he started that YouTube channel, correct me if I'm wrong, was around 2018, and we started our podcast in 2017. So he knew that Kyle and I were 50-50 partners. That he had absolutely lied to his audience about not knowing any of that, saying that Kyle had every right to kick me off the show, that more specifically, Kyle told him that he had the authority to do so, which I believe that he did. But I think that, of course, Mr. Atheist bought it hook, line, and sinker, being the skeptic, critical thinker that he is. But when that was happening, I had written an open letter to Jimmy, and the reason why I wrote that open letter to Jimmy was basically because he had said that he, believed Kyle, that Kyle had the money, that Kyle had a lawyer, that Kyle, was doing everything on the up and up, and that he was in the right. Okay, fast forward to 2021, not to drag things out, but long story made short, it went to trial. Kyle didn't show up, got a default judgment. Kyle tried to manipulate the court by submitting false evidence, perjured himself, submitted forged documents, forged signatures of his ex-boyfriend to try to make it appear that he was not living where he was served. And that failed. Matter of fact, the judge even said even if he was not living where he was served, it still would have been proper service. But I knew all this was nonsense. I knew all this bullshit. I knew I'm going to get demonetized, but that's okay. I don't care. None of this even cares about the monetization. It's about getting the information out there. That's one of the reasons why I do my blog more than my videos on this stuff, is because I think the blog gets information out there more efficiently. But I wrote that letter to him saying, look, you're believing Kyle on what? What information do you have as a skeptic that Kyle has this money, that he has a bank account, that he has the books? And I told him, I said, look, I know for a fact that he probably blew this money because he had told me he had spent most of the money. So I was like, yeah, I knew he didn't have a lawyer. I knew he didn't have the money. Or at least I highly suspected. I'm not going to use the word no, because I highly suspected, I think, would be a better way to put it. I can't say justified knowledge, but fair enough. But I was like, hey, Jimmy, you're friends with Kyle, so all you got to do is ask him, hey, dude, I just want to verify that I can say that I've seen the money, right? It's one of those verify but trust things. I show people that I'm close to all my stuff. I show them all my emails, everything. Not because they don't trust me, not because I don't think for a second that they wouldn't believe me. It is because I want them to be able to say with confidence and with integrity that they have seen the actual information, right? They will never lie for me. I have never, ever asked anybody to lie for me, and I will never ask anybody to lie for me. And so, when people say, look, I haven't seen this, Steve hasn't shown me anything, or Steve hasn't told me, they're telling you the truth. I go out of my way to make sure that when I want somebody to know something, I say, look, I want you to come into our hangout. I will show you the information. And sometimes I will say, I will show it to you eventually, but not quite yet. They will say, okay, when you get to it. And then I do. And then they recognize the fact that I was right all along. # Steve was right. So I had asked Mr. Atheist, look, all you got to do is ask Kyle for it. Just say, look, I just want to see that the funds are there. I'm not trying to question you or say that you're lying. It's just so I want to be able to say to my followers and to the people that watch the non-sequitur show and the fans of the show, and to his audience, that he has seen the money, right? Because he was telling people I was going to get paid. And I'm convinced he probably did think that was the case. # it didn't happen. I mean, it's been 748 days or something since Kyle promised to pay me. So I was giving him an out. Literally, I was giving him an out. I was giving him a lifeline, and he didn't take it. I kind of thought to myself, look, if he doesn't take this lifeline, then at some point in the future, aka today, or actually in the last couple days, I'm going to revisit this. And tell people that he absolutely didn't care. He didn't care whether he lied to his audience. Anybody who asked him about the money, anything asked why he's streaming with Kyle, he would block and basically tell him to F off. Now, I was going to do a part 2, but I didn't know about the Gabbie, Hannah, and the Rachel Oates things last year. I was not aware. And so that was kind of new to me. And then I happened to come across a video. It was done by a creator called Fat Sajak. I got to tell you, she did about 95% of the work for that part when I get into that. It was an excellent video. Loved her style. A huge fan already. Hope she doesn't disappoint me like other content creators. I have commitment issues when it comes to subscriptions, okay? So, but go watch that video. It's in the video description. I have asked her to join, but she hasn't responded to me, although she did mention last night that she did get it. But if she ever shows up, she's welcome to join to that second half, because she knows that subject cold. But I wrote this. I wrote this part 2, and I went in a completely different direction than I suspected it would go. I really didn't know how to even start this, and then I ran across because I put on Twitter I was doing this, and somebody had posted a link to a Reddit on Jimmy called Free Talk About Jimmy or something. What's the name of the Reddit? I don't want to miss. It's called Freely Talk About Jimmy. So, and I posted on there, and I think it became the top post already. And they were very kind. I was kind of taken aback. I was kind of going, wow, these guys are actually pretty nice. They were asking questions. They were not sea-lining. They really seemed they wanted to have some questions answered, and I love that. I love honest interrogatories. You come to me with a question, people. In fact, I've seen comments nowadays all over the place. People saying, "Hey, look, I messaged Steve on Twitter last year, and he was very kind to me, and he answered my questions, and I've talked to him on Facebook." A lot of the people have been saying this because I've talked to thousands of people probably, and they all seem to have that same, story with me, is that if you come to me with honest questions, you will get a direct, honest answer. Super chat, William Peterson, $5. Only a narcissist has a YouTube channel and thinks he can redefine LGBT to GRSM and expect the world to know us. Well, I mean, not quite sure what GRSM is, but you might have to remind me, William. But he gatekeeps for that, yeah. And I'll get into that. I think that a lot of people use the gay and lesbian transgender community as a weapon and as a shield. I see this frequently. And, even though I am not a member of that community, I don't have to be to support it. I mean, I absolutely support it. Man, people remember, I like Jimmy, used to be Mormon, although I don't spend my time bashing on the Mormon church because it's not a thing that I care much about. But I am familiar with the church. And one of the reasons why I separated with the church in around 2018 completely is because their stance on gay marriage and Proposition 8 in California. I thought it was abysmal. And I said, I'm not going to have anything to do with this. Why would God say this is the true church on earth and then basically alienate gay people from marriage? It made no sense to me, right? So I've always supported that community, but I'm not somebody to use it as a weapon as he has. Chris Foster, not 499. When I came to you to visit you 2 years ago, you had all the info in hand at the time. We support you, Steve. Those who know you're right. And I appreciate that, Chris, very much. And by the way, if you have questions, I will get to them. Either super chat, or you don't have to ask a question. If you want a super chat, that's just because you want to help the channel. But if you have questions, just tag me and I'll see it. Free to Play says, I honestly asked you about philosophy. You didn't come back to me. I'm just disappointed. Looks like I have to steal your channel. I get back to you all the time, man. Come on. By the way, you can't steal a channel I don't own. Supposedly Chesire owns this one. All right. So anyways, that's kind of my history with Jimmy. But the reason why I wanted to write a part 2 is because when the Creeper Reading had done his video and he mentioned Jimmy, and then I saw the same with the Gabbie Hanna and the Rachel Oates things, I saw a lot of similarities. And my goal here is just to have the audience see the similarities between what Jimmy did with me and the Non-Sequitur show to what he's done with other people and with the audience that he has now and what he's doing and how he blocks criticism and blocks anybody who's asking questions. And I will tell you right now, there are people be saying, look, Steve, you do that. No, I don't. Straight up, I don't. If you come to me with an honest question, I will give you an honest answer. But I've been trolled for, 5 years now with people that just create fake accounts. Of course I'm going to block them. Yeah, I'm not interested in that. But anybody that's a patron especially or a member, if they message me, they get a response in 5 minutes and I'm awake. Almost every single time. So, yeah. Oh, gender, romantic, and sexual minorities. Okay. Did not know that. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and read my blog and kind of go through it. If you guys have questions on it, please let me know, and I'll kind of explain the reasoning behind my blog, and then hopefully get into the Gabbie Hanna Rachel Oates situation. Sound good? All right, let's do it. All right. You know what? I'm wondering if I should read this in my I don't know, my low tone voice. I don't know. Let me see here. I'll try, and then you guys can tell me if it sounds better. I was contemplating doing my part 2 to an open letter to Mr. Atheist and other YouTube content creators, which, by the way, is in the video description if you want to read it afterwards. Highly suggest that you do. A blog entry that I wrote back in August 15, 2019. There you go. I knew I saw it somewhere. During the time when I believe that Jimmy Snow was, in some capacity, possibly helping my former business partner, Kyle Curtis, steal my channel called The Non-Sequitur Show, along with $60,000. While pre-prepping, I was just kind of getting into things, for my part 2, I found this rabbit hole of FTF from Jimmy and the saga of him and Rachel Oates, who was a friend of mine way back when, and man, did things sound all too familiar to what Jimmy did to me. Now, all cards on the table. I was friends with Rachel Oates. I still consider her a friend. I mean, we kind of distanced, over time. But I will say this, just to get this out there. There was a couple people I know, there were some dishonest agents trying to run this narrative that somehow Rachel Oates, got her start on my channel, or that I, because of me, that she's a big success. And that's absolutely not the case. She's got there because of her own talents. She's exceptionally talented in arts and literature and things of that nature. I did have her on the show. right? But yeah, I was just supporting her. That's all. I mean, I support a lot of content creators, but I thought that was kind of odd. But I wish her the best, and I don't think she's ever going to watch this. But if she is, I am so happy for her success. And I told her in an email that she never responded to that she's going to be a superstar. Hashtag Steve was right again. But anyways, from him gaslighting his audience to outright lying to them when confronted with questions. So you guys hopefully can see this. You guys can see this, right? Okay. To blocking anyone that dared call him out on his deplorable behavior, something I personally experienced firsthand. Seems like this pattern of behavior is just a never-ending, repeating cycle of defend, delete, distract. Attribution to Christy Watkins from Jimmy Snow. Please don't manipulate us. I don't know who Christy Watkins is, but I really like the way that she just basically summarized Jimmy Snow in a nutshell. Defend, delete, distract. And I did tell her that. She didn't get back to me, but I told her, look, I'm stealing this, but I'm giving you attribution. I keep my word. So I did. And so I thought that was a perfect way. Somebody else actually said something along the lines of like Jimmy Snow gaslighting, gatekeeping, and something else. I was like, that's pretty good too. But no, defend, delete, and distract. That's how he operates. First, let me lay out my emotional cards on the table so people know my feelings about Jimmy right up front. I try to make my writings as factual as possible. However, I think after all the shit that I've been through, I'm allowed to make a little bit of an argument from pathos here. I make no bones about it. My opinion of Jimmy is that he's a narcissistic monobank that uses emotional manipulation to cultivate an audience that responds to the emotional rhetoric that Jimmy has mastered how to spew. And I cannot emphasize that enough. He has mastered the art of manipulation, just like any good narcissist will do. You'll see a pattern with those kind of behaviors. You'll see a lot of them have the same kind of redemption arcs. You'll see a lot of them have the same kind of by fiat type things. I'm right, you're wrong. If you don't agree with me, I'm going to block you kind of things. You can't even question anything that I say. And then use the whole pity thing. And another thing you'll see, and again, I'll tell you, I don't watch Jimmy's stuff, haven't for a very long time, but I can just guess from what I've read, from other people have said, a lot of his stuff is filled with this love bombing stuff. Oh, we love your channel, you're so great, don't be sad, and mostly supportive things. I see a lot of content creators just feed themselves on that kind of thing, and there's nothing wrong with that for a video or two. Look, we all have our sad days. I get it, and there are content creators that just foster sad fishing as a profession. But that's how you tell, I think, a more honest content creator from one that isn't, like Jimmy, who just feeds on that. Because if you look at my comments that you have, the people leave me, they're not like that. It's more like, hey, Steve, love your stuff. You fucked up on this. Let me tell you why. Okay, great. That's about as most love bombing as I get, right? But I just want, again, people to see these types of patterns because Jimmy's not the only one. In fact, it's almost all the people that Jimmy associates on that side of the fence. And again, not all of them, but a lot. I would say, okay, I'm going to retract that. Not almost all of them. A large percentage. How about that? Let's see here. He has in the past admitted to being a narcissist, but would like people to believe that he's a changed man. Now, somebody had asked me in the Reddit where he said that. Now, some people went back and looked at some old stuff, and they said it was way back when in some of his early stuff that when he was part of the Mormon Church, he had narcissistic tendencies. He felt very prideful, very arrogant. That's kind of what I was referring to. Again, I don't have that to show anybody, but if you go into the Reddit, other people have said that they've seen it through like many different videos. So I just remember that him actually saying in a video that he was, had narcissistic tendencies. And by the way, I mean, he has an ego. I mean, come on. That he has learned from his experience and his past. I should say from his past. Let me change that later. And grown as a person from those experiences. Again, redemption arc, right? A seemingly reoccurring theme in Jimmy's arsenal of bullshit. It is the ever-repeating fuck up, beg forgiveness from fans, say we'll do better. And we see that so often. Oh, I messed up. I'll try to do better. And look, that happens sometimes. Don't get me wrong. I mean, as a content creator, we put a lot of stuff. I've got across 3 channels, 2,000 freaking videos. And I'm sure I made a lot of mistakes. And we all say, yeah, I was wrong in that instance. And I'll correct it. Matter of fact, I'm corrected in real time. My audience, my moderators, I got people miss me all the time. Even if I misspell a word, they'll let me know about it. So I'm corrected quite frequently. But I don't often beg for forgiveness because I don't really think I do anything wrong that requires begging your forgiveness. If I slight somebody directly, then I will ask for the forgiveness. I've had that happen before. I mean, I've had content creators where I probably had jumped the gun a little bit, and I told them, look, I made a mistake. I jumped the gun, and I probably should have done a little more research. That has happened. Again, been on air for 7 years. Those things are going to happen. Those are normal things. But when it's a repeating type pattern, again, it's nonsensical why people put faith in people that constantly do that kind of stuff, that constantly say, oh, I know, I'm so sorry, and I'll do better. No, you don't do better. None of them ever do better. It's a manipulation technique because most of our audience are guided by emotions. Now, and again, nothing wrong with that. We all have emotions. I do more logic, type argumentation. But again, I understand that a lot of people are very emotional. That's fine. But because there are a lot of emotional people, they're taking advantage of a lot. And that pisses me off. I don't like seeing emotionally vulnerable people, especially, being taken advantage of when people wear their hearts on their sleeve, because they're not bad people. And I see people taking advantage of that type of person. Again, like, Rachel Oates, which we'll get into. She's exactly like that kind of person. She wears her hearts on her sleeve. She's not manipulative. What you see is what you get. She's very honest and open. She has a lot of trauma, absolutely. And I think people do take advantage of that because, they go after her because I don't think she knows how to respond to that kind of vitriol against her because it hurts her. It really does. I absolutely believe it does. But that's just foreshadowing right there. It's the same tried and true method, rinse and repeat redemption. It's the same tried and true method of rinse and repeat redemption arcs that pull on the heartstrings of subscribers who can be easily manipulated because of their want to believe that people can actually change. People do, right? I mean, most of these people that follow Jimmy are probably, and I hate to say this, I can't verify this, but I think a lot of them probably do watch a lot of reality TV. And so they like to see those redemption arcs. At least as I know for other content creators that is the case. There are certain content creators that only cover reality TV. So they're of course their subscribers are very much into that kind of, such and such last night, they I knew they would come around and they changed. Yeah, right. Don't get me wrong, I certainly believe that some can change, but I also believe some can't, and Jimmy Snow is one who can't. There's one. This is why he's constantly reinventing himself and constantly whitewashing from his history, from his fans. It's just another form of toxic narcissist manipulation by Jimmy, as we all deep down, I think, have the want for people to change, and manipulators use that to their advantage. Absolutely. We all hope for that certain people can change. People that we know probably are not bad people. It's just, they got involved in the wrong people. They believed some nonsense that they should have fact-checked better. That happens to everybody, okay? I can't say that the people I've associated with in the past are the highest ethical people in the world. No, but I recognize they weren't, and I left them. I distanced myself from them. Matter of fact, I'm still hearing from some of them 5 or 6 years later, even though I've told them I want absolutely nothing to do with them because of the duplicitous crap they were pulling, right? And that's something that people understand. No means no. If you don't want to be around somebody, don't message them. Don't try to creep back in their lives. If you want to spend 50,000 hours watching their stuff and putting their, critiquing it or mocking it or parroting it on Twitter or YouTube, go ahead. Nobody gives a crap about that. But don't involve yourself in their life. Don't try to message, their friends saying crap like, oh, well, we never had any arguments, when you basically are one of the biggest shitlords on the planet. It makes no sense. But again, manipulators know how to use these types of techniques. Contrary to appearance on his shows, Jimmy Snow has never been about substance. To him, it's always been about attention. He took absolutely no responsibility for his part in Kyle Curtis stealing the non-sequitur show and straight up giving a massive FU to the audience when he continued to stream to my channel that Kyle legally took over, even though he knew full well that there was a cease and desist and pending legal litigation. Yeah, he knew full well. I mean, he tried to lie to his audience saying, oh, well, I trusted a friend, and, Kyle told me that, he owned the channel. He knew that. He knew I started that channel. He absolutely knew that I started that channel. That was just a lie. And then when people would ask him, why are you streaming to Kyle, with Kyle on your channel? Kyle, did this bullshit with Steve, kicked him off his own channel, stole the money. Jimmy would block those people. And then, fun fact, again, foreshadowing, Jimmy has the audacity to say in one of his videos, oh, well, nobody ever came to me and asked me about the situation. And that was dealing with Rachel Oates and some other things. Oh, okay, we all believe that. I love when Sajak was just like, no, nobody came to you and asked you directly. I did and got this, and it was a block thing. Yeah, that's what you get. That's what you get when you ask Jimmy Snow questions. Let's see here. He blamed Kyle for everything, and that was that he was lied to by Kyle. Well, he was lied to by Kyle, but he accepted it. He accepted it without question. Some skeptic Jimmy turned out to be. When all he had to do, look, I again, going back to my open letter for Jimmy, I had told him, look, all you got to do is ask him to see your books, to see the books or see the money, and I'll believe Jimmy. Again, I don't think Jimmy was a paragon of virtue that didn't lie. I knew that he did, but I don't think he would lie on that. One, because if he had lied about that and I found out, later for absolute certainty that Kyle didn't have the money, then of course it would be, without question, Jimmy lied. And so I don't think he would lie about that. And I think he actually probably did want to know if the money was there. Well, no, I should say that. I think he didn't care if the money was there, but if he had asked, he would have, said, yeah, Steve, the money's there or not. I don't think he would have lied to me about that, because it would have benefited him. You have to put these things in perspective. You have to frame them of how do they benefit somebody, right? And when you're a narcissist, you have to look at it as, how does this benefit Jimmy? Oh, well, it wouldn't benefit Jimmy to say that the money wasn't there. If anything, he would ask Kyle. If he didn't see any money, he just would ignore it, right? He wouldn't tell me. He wouldn't get back to me. Maybe he did. I don't know, right? He never did get back to me on it. But he wouldn't. I don't think he would lie to me because it wouldn't benefit him. UKPI says, I don't think that Jimmy gave a crap about Kyle either. He just wanted non-sequitur subs and didn't care how he did it. Oh, and that was a mutual thing, dude. I will tell you right now, I'll have to find them, but somewhere I have in my messages, Kyle straight up saying that, he wanted Mr. Atheist around. He had a lot of subs. He wanted me to make nice with Mr. Atheist because, of the subs. And I'm like, no, Mr. Atheist gets some shit wrong when it comes to philosophy. And I'm not going to sit there and go, well, he's absolutely right. And again, fast forward to, Rachel Oates and her critique of Gabbie's poetry. I'm not saying that I'm any kind of, professional on that level of philosophy, but I can recognize when somebody gets basic crap wrong. And I wasn't going to just suck up to Mr. Atheist for subs. But yes, they fed off each other for that. Absolutely. No question about that. Nathan says, Steve, I may be a bit behind here, but I was wondering, you and Aaron on good terms. Is it possible you guys may or do host any debates or do work together in the future? I got no problem with Aaron, except that I think he misrepresents me. But I think it's out of ignorance rather than malice. But he won't talk to me. No, he's been maligned against me for a very long time, unfortunately. But yeah, I got nothing against him personally. But he's one of the worst people in philosophy in the history of the planet. All right, but anyways, go back to this. But by the way, again, if you notice, there's a lot of similarities with Jimmy and a lot of people that associate with him. But I don't think Aaron's a bad guy. A lot of the other hosts that he has on, I do think are bad people, like exceptionally bad people. But anyways, that he had trusted a friend and acknowledged at the time that I, quote, expressed understanding for a time and did not act contemptuously toward him for that position, which is true. As far as, look, I have said before, and I've said this about other content creators, that I think that Kyle did lie to them all, and they, that's fine. But the problem is that they all took it by fiat. They didn't question him on anything. And this was a group of skeptics. I mean, hello. I had people asking me that were my very close people, hey, Steve, tell me about this, tell me that. And not because they didn't trust me, it's because they wanted to see the evidence so they can say they see the evidence. None of them asked him for anything, clearly, because he had no evidence. He had to fabricate evidence to the court. Fun fact, for those who don't know, Kyle actually did submit altered evidence to the court. Go watch the creepy reading, 9 Worst YouTubers That Need to Stop. It's in the video description. I highly recommend. And also there's some other videos on my channel. Look at transcript, like something, what was it, the video where we actually show that he went into the PDFs? It's on my channel somewhere. but one of my mods may be able to find it. Which was true. But I did express understanding and gave him the benefit of the doubt, which is why I wrote my open letter to Mr. Atheist in the first place. I was like, yeah, why not? Hey, look, what's the worst that can happen here? If Mr. Atheist doesn't take me on my offer to give him a lifeline, saying that I won't bring him up later on, I won't add him to the list of people that I think helped steal non-sequitur and steal the money, okay, that gives him a chance, gives him an out. I don't know why he didn't take it. It was one of the stupidest things that I think he did, because I knew, fast forwarding to now, when it all came out that Kyle lied about all this stuff, that he would have no excuse. Now, do I think people are going to care? Probably not. Do I think that anybody's going to go, oh, look, Mr. Atheist, screwed over Steve? Probably not. But I think that they will finally start recognizing that what Mr. Atheist did to me is exactly what he's done to other content creators, what he's done to his audience, what he's done to people who have asked questions. There's a pattern there. That's what I want to have to happen. So I want people to put their own puzzle pieces together about the people that Jimmy associates with. And what Kyle associated with. There's that group there. There's a lot of similarities, I assure you. Fast forward to now, I know full well that he outright lied by saying it was just him trusting a friend after his non-apology FU to the fans, to the non-sequitur show. See my open letter. I do have his response in that first part, if you want to go check it out. I'm not going to put it out here because it's very long. But the too long didn't read version is, I was taken advantage of by a friend. I just trusted a friend and I was, hurt by it. But, Steve's a bad man and Steve sent people after me and Steve harassed me and Steve cyberbullied me. All bullshit, never happened. So I know he's lying. I mean, it's at that point, all principle of charity is out the window, because I know the truth. I know what happened. None of it ever happened. And it was more than him just trusting a friend. He streamed to my channel after cease and desist, and people had asked him, hey, dude, there's a legal matter going on here, and you're streaming to a channel that's in litigation. You should know what the hell's going on. It's more than just trusting a friend. Where the hell's the money? There's $60,000 missing, plus, $60,000 plus assets, plus other things. Thousands of fans were wanting to know what the hell happened. And he blocked all of them. Anybody that had asked him back in that day, he had blocked. I'm sure a lot of people in the live chat would probably say they were blocked. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, there was something going around like hashtag blocked by Jimmy or something like that. But if you've been blocked by Jimmy for asking him questions or any other reasons, put one in the live chat. I'll start it off there. So I'm kind of surprised if you haven't been. If there's not at least, I would say there's 153 people watching. I would say at least 10% probably have been blocked. So that'd be 15 people. So I'll be surprised if not 15 ones, but whatever. However, at the time, I decided to appeal to Jimmy's massive need to protect his image at all costs mentality and wanted to see if he would call out Kyle or defend him at all costs, which he did. So I wrote my open letter giving him a quote out, so to speak, at least an out when it came to public opinion. All he had to do as a good quote skeptic was asked to see the funds that Kyle had told everybody or everyone that he had an account for me. Now, if you guys remember, Kyle was like, oh, I have the money. It's an account. I have a CPA. I was trying to give the money to Steve many times. Never once did he try to give me the money. Somebody will say, oh, well, he tried to give you during the Death of the Non-Sequitur show, which I didn't put in the video description, which I will. If you ever watch one video on my channel, I don't care if you never watch me again. I don't care if you subscribe. I don't give a shit what you do. If all you do is watch that one freaking video, the Death of the Non-Sequitur show, it answers all your questions, because it was in real time where Kyle Curtis killed his career. And he was like, oh, do you want your money, Steve? And I'm like, but hey, look, I want my money, but I also want to see the books, which is the entire reason why we're here, because where the hell is the records? Where's all this money that you've spent on trips, on equipment, on promotionals or whatever? I mean, where's all the software? Where did it all go? I wanted to see this. I mean, how can I get paid if I don't even know what all the revenue and the liabilities were? It's nonsense. I told Mr. Atheist that all he had to do was just simply ask Kyle to see the funds, and I would not hold him accountable for Kyle's fraud when he was when all was said and done. Fun fact: the court did find Kyle liable for fraud. That is a fact now. It's not just speculation. He was found liable for fraud, fraudulent conversion, unfair and deceptive trade practices, breach of fiduciary duty, and breach of contract in a court of law. You could ask, why would I believe Jimmy if he was such a commensurate liar? And it would be a very fair question, and I have a very fair answer. I did some quick enumerations in my head on some of the possible ways it could play out, as I figured Kyle didn't have the money. And this is kind of the quick thing that I did in my head. One, if Kyle had the money and Jimmy asked to see it and saw the money, Kyle had the money, Jimmy didn't ask to see it. Kyle didn't have the money and Jimmy asked to see it and saw the money, or Kyle didn't have the money and Jimmy didn't ask to see it. Those are pretty much the only options I kind of to see. But my reasoning went as follows. If one, then I would keep my word and believe Jimmy and believe that, and my belief would have been true. If Jimmy had asked to see the funds and the funds were there, then I had a true belief, right? I mean, I believe him because I don't think Jimmy would have lied to me about that. So I would have actually believed Jimmy. That's not just, lip service. Because again, if Jimmy had lied and said, yeah, I saw the money, and he didn't, then that would have actually showed that for absolute fact to his audience that Jimmy is a liar, which I definitely believe anyways, but his audience seems to not think that for some reason. But we've seen it before. We saw a Twitter troll say, "Oh, I saw Kyle Curtis log into his bank account with his lawyer, and he didn't doctor any records." Well, we know that was a lie. We know that was a lie. We have the originals. They were doctored, so we know he never logged into any actual bank account. We actually know that was complete fabricated what he submitted to the court. Even the image that of the web page of the bank that was completely rearranged, photoshopped, or whatever. So that person we know, actually lied about that, right? Although still to this day, I think they're still saying that they saw it. No, you didn't. His lawyer withdrew because Kyle lied to her. If two, then Jimmy would not be as skeptical as he portrayed himself to be and just believe Kyle without evidence, and perhaps his audience would see that he was unwilling to help me. Yeah, I mean, believe by faith, right? Faith alone. Hey, I have faith that Kyle has the money. For skeptic Mr. Atheist, that seems incongruent to me. And again, it's not a matter of not trusting a friend. It's just like, hey, look, I have an audience that I have to, be honest with. I need to tell them why I'm streaming with you. And if I'm going to stand up for you, I need to be able to tell them, yes, I have seen the funds. What's wrong with that? I think that makes sense to me. When Chesire goes to her video, she doesn't believe me on faith. She's seen the evidence, right? I don't know why Jimmy did not take me up on this offer. It seems to be one of the stupid things he ever did. Well, because he figured because he gets so big, nobody cares. And that's true. There are content. If you're over 100,000 subs, nobody really gives a shit about anything, it seems. They have stands that'll follow them for whatever. And I'm not at that level, probably never will be at that level. Although it's funny that most of the people associated with the Non-Sequitur show have over 50,000 subs at this point. Okay, whatever. But it's kind of strange that they all have that same mentality. None of them asked Kyle for evidence. Matter of fact, they were all accusing me of committing crimes that I didn't commit. None of them had asked Kyle for those evidence. Come to find out, he lied about all that stuff. Yeah. If three isn't plausible because as well as it will be an ontological contradiction, so not possible. You can't. If he didn't have the money, what was number three? If Kyle didn't have the money and Jimmy asked to see the money and saw the money, that would be impossible. You can't see something that's not there. So, and if four, then I would at a future date in perpetuity be able to say that Jimmy didn't ever give a damn whether the money was there or not. That's what I'm doing right now. I don't think he gave a damn. It's pretty clear to me that Jimmy Snow was, in fact, at least very complicit in Kyle Curtis's fraud, but I suspect he actively helped defend Kyle and in some capacity assisted Kyle in covering up his fiscal malfeasance. Again, this is my personal belief. Based on all things holistically, the fact that he never bothered to ask Kyle for the funds, the fact that he ignored me, the fact that he actually outright lied to me in his non-apology, saying that I cyberbullied him, sent people over to harass him, that never happened. So I know that he's an actual liar. So I think that there was a high probability he actively tried to defend Kyle, just like, fast forward to Gabbie Hayes and Rachel Oates. Again, see the similarities there. When he doesn't fully know the story and he gets involved in something. Bad habit there, Jimmy. It would also have been possible, given number four, that Jimmy just could have lied and said he saw the money that Kyle didn't have, in which case, when it came out that Kyle didn't have the money, then I can demonstrate beyond all doubt that Jimmy was a bold-faced liar. Fun fact, even if that was the case, I still think he would have stands. Again, when you reach a certain level, you're pretty much a juggernaut. You're untouchable. Nobody's going to care, unless you have somebody that's bigger and badder come along with a bigger channel or bigger story to kind of say, oh, hey, no, there's a problem here, like Emily Artful's brilliant video on Creepshow Art. I mean, that just it canceled Creepshow Art. I don't know what other word to use. It was 10 years of harassment. So that was one of the very few times where a large content creator got her due that we all knew was doing shady stuff. Do I think some of the other ones were larger content or larger channels? I don't think they'll ever get their due. I don't know. Maybe they will, but it's at what expense? At what point of time? I don't know. And I honestly don't care if Jimmy or Katie or any of those people that I've talked about before ever have anything happen to them as far as like being a massive call out by a larger content creator that happened like Creepshow Art. Why? Because I just don't care any longer. I have my own things to worry about. I did my due diligence years ago trying to explain to people, hey, look, these are the kind of people you're dealing with here. But you know what? Their subscribers don't care. Most of them will never see any of that stuff. Most of them, if they even did, they don't care. So why should anybody else? And so I don't bother with most of the stuff. It's very infrequent. However, I did promise myself I'd get back to Jimmy, and because the stuff was starting to come up again with the Gabbie Hanna stuff and the Rachel Oates stuff, I was like, oh, this is a good timing for this, right? Because it's being brought up again. Because I really didn't, like I said, I didn't know what was going on a year ago. This is old stuff that was brought back. But since I don't follow Jimmy and I kind of fell away from Rachel, not that means that we're not friends or any longer. It's just like she goes, she had her own direction with her own channel, and it just wasn't stuff I was really watching. Although I was a moderator at the time, I didn't know what was going on. I don't know jack crap about Gabbie Hanna. I never even heard of her until recently. So, yeah, and I probably won't ever talk about her again. If you're here for that, might as well just tune out, because I really, if somebody would have said, a couple weeks ago, hey, what do you know about Gabbie? I'd be like, some YouTuber. And the more I do find out about her, the less I ever want to know about her. There was no question, regardless of if Kyle had the money or not, or if Jimmy asked to see the money or not, that the fans of the Non-Sequitur show wanted answers where the money graciously donated to the show went. Yes, fans are here. They wanted to know, and I made a promise to them that I would get to the bottom of it. True to form, Jimmy gaslighted those fans and tried to rewrite history, calling me a quote toxic narcissist, and made it sound like I was bullying him. That's the big narrative. Steve's a narcissist. I mean, okay. If I'm a narcissist, let's talk about that, because I have done videos on narcissism. I don't think I check any of those boxes. But if you think I do, I'm happy to have a conversation with you, because I think that's absolutely ridiculous. It's just one of those throwaway things. Oh, he's a narcissist, therefore you can just kind of throw away anything that he says, any criticism he has. It's ridiculous, especially when it comes from a narcissist. I called him a toxic narcissist because I've seen what he does to his viewers, and he used to be a narcissist from what he said. He has a massive ego. But to say that I was bullying him, a small little channel compared to his, bullying him, I never sent anybody over to his channel. I never said anything. I think I may have left a comment once on one of his videos, but it wasn't me doing anything to Jimmy. It was fans of the Non-Sequitur show that were asking him, why are you streaming with Kyle? I didn't ask them to do that. I had nothing to do with that. So how the hell was I bullying him? In any possible concept or way to interpret that word bullying, how was I bullying Mr. Atheist? It's just that that's what he tells his audience, because that's what gets his audience riled up. Oh, I have a bully, I have a stalker, I have a hater, I have a harasser. Well, look, people know that Chesire and I have been, I hate to say, I'm not bullied, but we've been harassed by shitty people for half a decade. Okay, but we don't go around going, oh, we're just so picked on. No, it's like part of the fact that we're on YouTube and we have trolls. It's, what are you going to do? We tell the trolls we don't want anything to do with them. They need content, so they make content. They fabricate shit. They take things out of context. That's what they do. And what's funny is Jimmy associates with a lot of them. Go figure, right? But I still don't understand in any way, shape, or form how he could so bold-faced lie to his audience, say that I was a bully. I mean, come on. Criticism is not bullying. Again, going fast forward to the Rachel Oates things, she did a critique, obviously, of Gabbie Hanna's work, and that blew up. But that's what she does. I critique videos as well. I do reviews on philosophy and science, but I don't think he understands that is definitely not bullying. Justin for $5. Mea culpa. I was duped by Jimmy to the extent of being a Reddit mod for him with his ad homies subreddit. Crazy to think I bought into their con grift. Oh yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get to that, man. That whole ad homies thing. Let's see here. that I had some massive army of stands that were bullying him, and that I was owed no apology from him for in some way helping Kyle abscond with $60,000. He just wanted to move on and just pretend none of it ever happened. Well, it did happen. And he uses those same manipulative techniques even to this day to make it sound like he's the victim. Oh, he's good at that. Another thing you'll notice from that group, they love the victim complex. Oh, I'm being so picked on, and everybody else is the big bad bully. Give me 1 sec here. Sorry about that. He uses the LGBTQ plus community as a shield. Oh, absolutely. And again, something you'll see with many other content creators from that side of the fence. They love to pull that out, that they're part of the LGBTQ plus community. So what? Just because I'm not gay, I can't be supportive of that community? Do you need to be a part of that community to support it? Do you need to be that community to use as a shield? I mean, that's just absolutely ridiculous that he goes out of his way to use that every single time. As an excuse for things, or as a shield from criticism. It boggles my mind, because I don't understand why people in the LGBTQ plus community don't say enough. Stop using us this way. It's just because you happen to be bisexual, pansexual, or demisexual, or transsexual, or gay, or bi, whatever, doesn't give you the right to be a shitty person. It just doesn't. It has nothing to do with your gender. It has nothing to do with your sexuality. It has nothing to do with how you identify. A shitty person is a shitty person. Stop using that community as a shield to protect yourself from criticism when you do shitty things. He used to claim that he uses his claim to have autism as an excuse. Yeah, that's true too, from what I found out. I'm not the only one that's noticed that as well. A lot of people have noticed, I'm autistic. Look, I've had autistic friends. They're not like Jimmy. Bullinator, the man I love, I mean, a dear friend. One of the nicest, truly honorable people in the entire world. Not a hateful, spiteful, mean, arrogant, egotistical, unethical bone in that man's body. He wasn't ever like that. He was never dishonest to me. He never lied to me. He never treated me the way Jimmy treats his audience. So that's a bullshit excuse that you're autistic. Most of my audience are probably on the spectrum. Even they would even denounce that bullshit. It's not an excuse, Jimmy. It's just not. Stop it. It makes people that have autism to be so unaware of social norms that I just didn't know. Bullshit. They understand right and wrong. Autistic people are not idiots, Jimmy, and you're treating them such. And it drives me bonkers when people use these types of excuses, because autistic people are not like that. Oh God, that's the stuff that is my triggers. Let me tell you, I don't have many triggers. That's the word that Jimmy would use. They're not really triggers; they're buttons, if anything. But that pisses me off, most because again, my adoration for Bullinator, and the fact that he was such a close friend, and he's so antithetical to Jimmy style. Contrary to what he may think, he's not the gatekeeper of all things LGBTQ. I see people noticing that as well, that, if you disagree with Jimmy on anything relating to the LGBTQ plus community, you're by wrong fiat. And he's not the only one that does that. Godless Cranium tried that as well. S as the Thought tried that. They tried to shut down communications with the whole rationality rules fiasco with the atheist community of Austin. They're the gatekeepers, right? We like to have discussions. That's what we do. I mean, that was what the non-sequitur show was about. Opinions are sacred, unless they're Steve's. Chesire and I doing Caffeine Corner. They were about discussions about explaining to people how to recognize these types of behaviors. And if you're new to the channel and you do want to watch other stuff, go watch the playlist for the Caffeine Corner shows relating to how we were talking about how to identify people that are narcissistic, how to identify people that use these techniques. As a matter of fact, my trailer on my channel is about the 5 C's. Go look them up, but. It's basically, how to approach these types of conversations with charity and cookies. Go find out what cookies are. But that's my trailer for my channel. And when you say to somebody, look, if you just disagree with me, you're just wrong. Unless you're dealing with something that has an objective fact of the matter. If I say, hey, look, 0.99 repeat equals 1, and you say you're wrong, well, yeah, you're objectively wrong, because that is true. But if I say, hey, look, I prefer pineapple on pizza, and you say no, pineapple people sucks. there's no objective matter to be had, right? Those are subjective evaluations, and I'm not a big fan of pineapple on pizza. As people are fully aware now, Kyle refused to show me or anyone the books, nor account for the missing funds. Mr. Atheist was considered to be a part of the, quote, skeptic community, and additionally, we know now that he just took Kyle's word that he had the money, rather than asking for validation for the funds existing. And again, let me point this out. My open letter to Mr. Atheist was to other content creators, too. Go read the title. It wasn't just to Jimmy. Do you know how many of them took me up on that offer? I'll give you a hint. It's a zero that begins with 0, that ends in 0, that means 0, that is basically 1 minus 1, if you can figure out the math. There was none. There was nobody that took him up on that offer. But this is the skeptic community, remember? This is the people that say, I can only believe if I have evidence. Okay, no, their belief was completely faith-based at that point. They didn't care. You know, they didn't care that Kyle had the money. Kyle was the cool guy. Kyle had great hair. Kyle was the gay guy, right? Again, using the LGBTQ plus as a shield that Kyle tried to do, right? He tried to ingratiate himself with that community, being how toxic it is. Matter of fact, I keep on saying I only care if you watch one video, but there might be another video you want to watch of the show that we had the other day with Ben Potts, Kyle's ex-boyfriend. Huge bombs that he dropped on that about, Kyle, we know now that Kyle threatened to out Ben. We know Kyle had assaulted Ben. We know Kyle had done even worse than that, according to Ben, in that video. And so for him to be a role model for the LGBT community plus, absolutely not, right? But of course, we know that now. We didn't know that back then. And I understand why he was very ingratiated into that community and why they respected him. I understand that. I really do. But look what happens when you have role models like that are not the honest people that you think they are. Even though I told people, look, this guy's stealing my channel. He stole the money. He's doing fraudulent stuff. Ask him to see the funds. That's all you got to do. Not one content creator did. This is a good question from the audience. And by the way, Chesire and I are doing an AMA on Monday. And you can ask us anything you want about any topic. I don't care. But I'll answer this one real quick. He says, but you all took Hufford's word for it. Why can't Jimmy take Kyle? I don't talk to Sean. I never did talk to Sean about any of that stuff. There was nothing of me taking his word about anything. I barely knew Sean. The only reason I hang up with Sean was because of Reds. So I have nothing to do with any of that. I never asked him about anything because I didn't know anything about it. Matter of fact, if you ask AT2 Productions, if you ask Chesire, if you ask Reds, they didn't tell me fuck all about a lot of this stuff because it wasn't any of my business. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't care. So I was like, I got my own stuff that I got to deal with. So no, I didn't take Sean's word for it. You never saw me defending Sean. I knew nothing about it till after the fact. So there's your answer. As well as people are fully aware now. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. We also had learned Kyle had lied about having a CPA, lied about having proper financials, that he actually submitted fraudulent records to the court, lied about having a lawyer when the case was initialized, and many other things. I really did want to see if Jimmy actually would ask Kyle to see the funds, and I highly suspected Kyle had already spent, which I knew that he did to a certain extent. He had told me he had lost his job and he spent the Patreon, but he had other funds coming in that he would give me. Okay, that never happened. Mr. Atheist not only refused to ask him, but blocked anyone who would dare ask him about it, and continued to shit on the fans of the Non-Sequitur Show, and continued to dual stream to both the Non-Sequitur Show channel with Kyle and his own channel. I believe he deleted those videos from his channel. I can't be certain of that. After a cease and desist was given to Kyle. So he streamed to the channel, and then once he realized that Kyle had lied all this time, didn't have a lawyer, didn't have a CPA, again, Mr. Atheist issued this non-apology, a very long one, blaming the victim here. I hate to say that because, again, that sounds like one of those things for a manipulation technique. It's not. I was the victim. I got defrauded. I mean, the guy stole $60,000. Half of what was due me. That I would say that would be a victim. But I'm not playing the victim. There's a difference. And, he didn't issue an apology to me nor to the fans. He didn't care. The last video on the Non-Sequitur channel was Mr. Atheist. Non-Sequitur and Mr. Atheist takes your calls. You can see the comments left on there. They're brutal. And yes, they did delete about, I don't know, 1,000 comments or something. A lot of them were captured in a bot that went to a Discord server, and we have a lot of those comments. But you'll see that, I mean, Chesire could probably tell you better than I can, but Astronomy Live wrote a script to capture deleted YouTube channels using API functions, and there was a lot. I would probably guesstimate if I had to put a buck on it, probably 1,000 comments were probably deleted. It's at least several hundred. And you could read the comments for yourself of what the fans of the show had to say. Apparently now Jimmy does a show called The Sunday Show on a channel called The Line, and quite probably ripped that from me, as I had a show with the same name, but who can say for sure, that he does with former co-hosts of the Non-Sequitur Show and members who were removed from the Great Debate community for being complete shitlords. Boy, that's the truth. Now, again, I don't know where they ripped that from me. It's just kind of coincidental that he streamed to my Non-Sequitur channel. He co-hosts now with co-hosts that used to be co-hosts from the Non-Sequitur Show channel. Some of them being very dishonest ones. And members of the ex-members of the GDC, Great Debate community, which we know now were vicious trolls. So I thought maybe he may have done it just as a slight to me, as a cheeky way to kind of say, hey Steve, I'm taking the name of the show that you used to do. I don't know, but I think it's very coincidental. I mean, he has a show on The Line called The Sunday Show. I had a show called The Sunday Show 3 or 4 years ago. I'm not accusing of it. Look, it's a generic name. I get this. It was used way. I didn't create the name. I never said that I did. I'm not saying that he plagiarized me. I was wondering if it was a cheeky way of him just Hey Steve, I'm going to take the name of the show because somebody from the Great Debate community knew I did that show, and they gave him the name to use. That's all I'm saying on it, So take it for what it's worth. He even had on his co-host one of the most dishonest lawyers on YouTube, in my opinion, of course. He refers to as Nate the Lawyer. Now, I just found out recently that he did change his name on the YouTube channel to Nate the Lawyer. Did not know that. But Nate Brody was the former channel's name. That's a fact. Not his real name. I'm not going to give out his real name. Nobody, but he used. It's funny. He used to use his real name in the GDC, but it's not relevant. But the channel name was Nate Brody, which was a pseudonym that he went by. Who I personally believe directly helped Kyle come up with a scheme to defraud the court by telling him that he could have the default judgment set aside if Kyle can show the court he was not living at the time of service where he was served. Now, again, Ben seemed to substantiate that suspicion. Yeah, in our discussion on Monday when he came on to join Judgment Call, show that just like I do now. But, the fact remains that Nate did directly involve himself in this lawsuit. That's facts and evidence. Kyle mentioned him directly in the deposition that he had been talking to Nate, that Nate had been giving him links. And there's a video that's unlisted on one of Nate's alternate channels called Multiple Personalities that he clipped together to make it appear that I had said that I knew Kyle would moved, which I did say, but that was after he was served. And it was basically solely contingent on Kyle saying that he had moved in a Discord. Okay, yeah, I had heard that Kyle moved, therefore I knew that Kyle moved because he said so in Discord. I had no reason to doubt him at that point, right? Yeah, I believed him, because, why I had no reason. There's no reason to doubt. So I was like, yeah, I knew that he moved. He said he moved. Okay, whatever, right? It wasn't a big deal. Now you're gonna ask, why didn't you check it out? Well, how was I gonna check it out? Why would it matter if he moved or not? I knew he's still a proper service even if he moved. But Kyle tried to run with the court a narrative that he was improperly served because he was served at a, quote, old address, which we try to explain wouldn't have mattered. Fun fact, even the judge said it wouldn't have mattered. He asked Kyle's lawyer, even if Kyle had moved, it still would have been proper service. And his lawyer responded, yes, I believe so. Yeah. No, Nate is a real lawyer. I know who he is. I mean, he's a real lawyer. He's not a very good one in my opinion. Matter of fact, he's a pretty bad one. And I know for a fact, and I have records of this, that he even said that his job was concerned about his YouTube channel. They wanted him to scrub a lot of stuff. I have that. So they noticed. Now, do I think he got fired? Whatever. Just asking questions. No, like I said, I don't know whether he did or didn't. I don't know whether he still practices or not. But I will say that I know for a fact he is a real lawyer. He's just so bad at it because look, I mean, how bad of a lawyer do you have to be to not understand the difference between a TRO and an RO? How bad of a lawyer do you have to be to make a video so out of context that somebody uses in a court case as fraudulent evidence? How bad of a lawyer do you have to be for that? How bad of a lawyer do you have to be to not understand that a TRO doesn't convert to some 2-year RO, How bad of a lawyer do you have to be to make these absurd statements that if Kyle moved, the service was improper in North Carolina, when we all knew that the law said otherwise? So, yeah, he can't be a very good one. That's his subjective opinion, but objectively, he is a lawyer. Yeah, I mean, even OPT lawyer, who is a real lawyer as well, and a high-level lawyer, he's not one of these low people. He has done high-level stuff. But he recognizes that Nate is a very bad lawyer and questions the question, not that if he's a lawyer, but how can it be a lawyer be so bad at it? So, but anyways, but yep, fun fact, I had a show called the Sunday Show from 3 or 4 years ago as well. I added this in, by the way. If you read the blog earlier, you probably missed this part. I did edit it in. I do go back and revise some of my stuff because I want things to be updated. It's just and corrected if I notice any commas or spelling errors. So I do revise my blogs frequently just because I want them to have the most updated thing. It's not revisionism. I don't change anything of that nature. Or 3 or 4 years ago as well, fancy that, right? While not exactly an original name, the coincidence is far too great to overlook, especially because many of just as dishonest co-hosts he has who used to be in the Great Debate community. See for yourself. Now, I'm not going to pull this up, but if you do the search results, because it's going to mess up my thing. If you do the search results, you see that obviously I had a lot of shows called the Sunday Show. Again, could be coincidental, but again, I thought it was maybe a jab at me. Whatever. I don't care one way or another. I don't. But who knows? OPT lawyer says, Nate's one of those lawyers that we point to and say, if he passed the bar exam, anyone could pass the bar exam. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think he's a very crappy lawyer. Because he just got so much crap wrong. He got everything wrong on the non-sequitur show, and then he deleted so many videos that he got wrong. And then he goes back and does another technique that people use. You said some content creators do this. Well, it could be this, could be that. I'm not saying this, but probably this, blah, blah. And then he'll say the opposite, and then they delete the one that they, got wrong. Or, they just play the fence a lot. But I have seen content creators say one thing in one video, say the exact opposite in another video, and all of a sudden that video that they said that got wrong is no longer on their channel, or it's unlisted. So, yeah. By the way, fun fact, con men do the same thing. They show you the hits, they don't show you the misses. I haven't deleted crap from my videos, from my channel. The only videos I've ever taken off my channel were for privacy concerns, or things of that nature, and they're very few. Less than a handful, if that. I've never deleted anything from my channel. So, I may have deleted something to hide something from view that was accidentally put on the screen, like personal information. That, yes, but I always put it back. So this narrative that I've had to delete videos, or that I've deleted videos of other content creators, not happening. Go back, go look. You'll see they're all there. Because I want the record to be straight, right? And people do search my old stuff, and they find things, and they take them well out of context, which is fine, because then I go, hey, look what they're doing. They're clearly out of context. Now, of course, their viewers don't know that, and they get subs out of it, and they go, oh, look, Steve's doing this dishonest stuff. But my viewers know otherwise, so whatever, right? I had already suspected that Kyle had been talking to somebody with legal training, as the judge in the case noted that even as pro se, it appeared that Kyle had been talking to somebody with legal training. Submitted a video by Nate, which was used as evidence that he had moved. It was dishonestly edited video that was woefully out of context to try to argue that he was improperly served and that I had deliberately had him served at an old address just to get a default judgment. Like, who does that? No, nobody's going to do that. That's just, it doesn't work this way. And the fact that Nate and I have had very personal animosity with each other for years. And there's not a lot of people that I have actual personal animosity toward. I don't even have personal animosity toward Jimmy. I have personal animosity toward Nate. Nate has involved himself in my personal life, with personal relationships that I have with people that I love and care about. That goes beyond anything on YouTube. So yes, it is very personal with Nate Brody. But he's one of the very few that I can say that about. And of course, Kyle. Kyle's ex-boyfriend confirmed on my show the other day that Nate and Kyle had talked for quite a while the day of the default judgment, and said that it was in fact Nate who was the person who gave him the idea of how to get the motion vacated, even though it would have never worked in North Carolina. North Carolina service would have still been proper, even if Kyle had not been living where he was served. Now, I know Nate put out a video going, oh, here's my communication with Kyle. It was starting from the day after. And then, saying, I can't give you legal advice, blah, blah, blah. We have no idea what the conversation was prior. I know Nate's probably smart enough not to put things in writing. So yeah, that means nothing. absolutely nothing. And the only one that really knows if he gave legal advice to Kyle is Kyle. And unfortunately, I have to be, reasonable here that Kyle is a perjurer. Maybe he wasn't found guilty. I shouldn't say legally he's a perjurer, but he lied under oath. We can show that he lied under oath. He might, have criminal proceedings because he lied under the oath. He might have oath. He might have criminal contempt because he lied under oath. So his testimony is tainted at this point, whether he did or not get testimony from, legal advice from Nate. It'd probably be very hard to use because of the tainting of that. If he ever is convicted of perjury, again, not telling anybody anything people can't figure out on that, right? So. And it sucks too, right? But again, we may never know. But it has been established, like I said, beyond all doubt, that Nate Brody did give Kyle a dishonestly edited video to make it appear that I had served him improperly because I had said that I knew that he had moved. But again, this was like 3 weeks after the fact. So, Kyle even went so far to forge his ex-boyfriend's signature on a fake rental agreement and submit it to the court, alter bank record dates and addresses to make it appear to the court that he was living with Ben at the time and not we were served, and blatantly lie under oath during his deposition to both my lawyer and to his own lawyer, who eventually withdrew from the case, citing Rule 1.1b 147810, which basically meant that any further representation would result in a breach of professional conduct. And the reason I added this in, again, this was about Jimmy, is because Jimmy has Nate as a host often. These are the people that he associates with. It's just, that is not coincidence. I assure you that is not coincidence. That both of them have actively lied about me. Both of them have actively tried to harm, my reputation. Let me assure you, in no uncertain terms, there was a massive tangled web of dishonesty among Jimmy and his cohorts, many of whom have been former guests of the Non-Sequitur Show, even some being former co-hosts of the Non-Sequitur Show, like Goddess Engineering, Caitlin Chloe. Jimmy was one of those co-hosts, as Jimmy had wanted to do another show, Jimmy, called Ad Homies. I'll fix that later. On a separate channel, which would have been absolutely fine. Yeah, I couldn't care less. It's a separate project. We all have separate projects. But instead of actually doing that show on another channel, he continued to stream to the Non-Sequitur Show after I had just issued a cease and desist letter. And Jimmy just completely went along with it, streaming to both my channel, Non-Sequitur Show, and his own channel to his own audience. Many of you probably remember that. Again, those videos are probably gone. He tried to whitewash all that. But, if any of you were fans of, or are fans of Jimmy Snow, oops, wrong thing here. Do you guys remember, I keep pushing it on here. There we go. Do any of you guys remember him streaming to his channel with Kyle, dual streaming? To both his channel and the Non-Sequitur Show, and people were asking him, why are you doing this? Why are you streaming with Kyle? It's clear that, Kyle's, done some pretty shady stuff. So, when people started asking Jimmy why he was streaming with Kyle, when it was pretty clear from the beginning that Kyle dishonestly attempted to kick me off my own show, Jimmy does what Jimmy does best. Defend, delete, distract. Jimmy would at first defend Kyle constantly, claiming that Kyle had the authority to remove me from my own show and assured people that I would be paid by Kyle. He wasn't the only one. And by the way, that's not some get-out-of-jail card. Yeah, we believe Steve was owed the money. So many people have used that as an excuse. Even my trolls have said, well, we always said that Steve would deserve the money. Fuck you. That's not an excuse. By the way, there have been some that said, oh, well, Steve didn't deserve his dime. But you think that because all this other shitty stuff that you said, all the lies that you said, all the false allegations that I committed fraud or medical fraud, you think that all just goes away because you said, well, hey, look, I still think Steve should have got paid. No, it doesn't. That's not a get out of jail card or get out of responsibility card. But no, Jimmy tried that. He did that in his non-apology, which again is on my first blog when you go, if and when you want to go read it, in the video description. Except, how did Jimmy know that when he didn't take me up on my offer to ask Kyle to see the money? Some skeptic, right? Now, don't get me wrong. I totally understand the need or want to trust a friend. We all do this. But again, we do trust but verify. Now, I think we've been all burned by friends, right? There have been people that I've trusted that I've been burned by, that, and some of them have hurt. Not going to front. I get that. We've all experienced that. Not a pity party. It sucks. It really does suck. I mean, again, I have commitment issues at this point to even befriend new people, or even to subscribe to them, because of this. It's not PTSD or anything, but it sucks. We don't want to trust people half the time because we've been burned. However, in my circle of friends, I show them evidence, if for no other reason, so they can tell others that they, in fact, have seen the evidence with their own eyes. I even said, hey, look, if people want to see the evidence of my correspondence with my attorneys, I'll show them to them in private. Yeah, absolutely. So far, nobody has taken me up on that offer, other than people in my own close circle. They've all seen it, but nobody else has asked me for that. Weird, right? But I mean, I'm telling you right now, ask me, and then you can say, look, Steve showed this to me. I want people to ask me because I want people to say that, obviously. Jimmy would deflect when anybody would ask about Kyle Curtis, the non-sequitur show, or any involvement with Kyle's fraudulent or hostile takeover of the show and misappropriating $60,000 of the show's money. Victim blaming, by trying to make it out somehow to be about me. I was the big bad guy. I was the one who brought the show down. Yeah, weird when I no longer streamed on that channel. Every episode tanked. The shows were shit. They were all about Kyle and Jimmy's, again, using the LGBTQ plus community for views. It was crap. Nothing wrong with having shows about those topics, but the way they did them, it was clearly they were using them to get a leg up, not because they give a damn about that community. Because I don't think that they did. I still don't think they do. Arguing what a mean poopy head I was, and that Kyle had every right to kick me off the show, that I was transphobic and anti-LGBTQ, neither of which are remotely true, but are just ordnance in Jimmy's arsenal to be deployed to deflect from criticism, and he's not the only one that does that. We see these terms thrown around all the time. Oh, such and such is transphobic, such and such is a bigot, such and such is, is homophobic. Look, there are true homophobes out there. There are true transphobic people. These people are shitlords. Go look at the issues that a lot of the transgender people have had to deal with these what the hell they're called, TERFs. I mean, these people are nuts. TERFs. I don't think I've seen one TERF that wasn't just over the top bizarre on their vitriolic hatred for trans people. But they'll use that as a weapon all the time. Because it works for their audience. Their audience responds to that because many of them are in the LGBTQ plus community, right? So they go, oh, look, if this person I respect, this big content creator, says this other person is transphobic, they must be. They don't often bother to ask questions. They don't, even ask, hey, how do you feel about this particular topic? People ask me about how I feel about a topic. I tell you what, I will tell you my opinion. 99% of the time, you'll get my opinion. So I don't know why people need to fabricate anything. It goes against my entire record of what I stand for. But it works for their audience because most of them are never going to come over to see this stuff. Most of them are never going to ask me questions. Jimmy would delete any comment asking about his involvement with Kyle or the non-sequitur show, or about me, or about the money, or about why he continued to stream to my channel that he knew was fraudulently taken over by Kyle, as we knew from Jimmy from the very start, as we knew Jimmy from the very start of the non-sequitur show. And he knew full well that Kyle and I were 50-50 partners. He knew this. He talked to us on this. So when he said, well, Kyle had told me that he had the right to remove Steve, that is a bold-faced lie. That Kyle had absolutely no legal right to violate our verbal contract, and certainly didn't care if Kyle stole all the money. He would end up blocking numerous fans of his merely for them asking even simple questions of his involvement with Kyle. Still does, probably, if I had to imagine. He wanted it completely erased from history. Internet never forgets. Now, again, will this be a big deal to him? No. Look at the Gabbie, Hannah, and the Rachel Oates stuff minimally affected him. And Rachel has 250,000 subs. If that only minimally affected him, this isn't going to put a dent. Nobody's going to care. I get that. But this isn't for his audience. This is for the people that want the actual facts, the historical facts, not historical revisionism, which is something that, again, Jimmy and his friends are very good at. Jimmy had claimed that he had, quote, stayed out of it publicly. That the guy had literally been streaming to my channel on my show that Kyle stole from me. How is that not public? How is that not public? You can't be more public than that. Hey, look, Steve, I'm staying out of public, but hey, look, I'm streaming to your fucking channel with Kyle. Yeah, right. He also tried to publicly falsely accuse me of doxing Kyle by providing Kyle's mailing address for the show, which was in the court records and in every email and letterhead of the show, and was completely public information. It was the address for the show. How can I dox him on that? Everybody had that information. It's been on videos. It's in the court records. It's not doxing. That's what he used for the show. It was public information. And I also said it was the reason why Nate made that video is I was explaining, look, that information is old when I showed it on the screen because Jimmy made a big deal about it and he asked Nate, is this doxing? Yeah, he asked Nate, go figure, if it's doxing. And I'm like, wait a minute. First of all, of course it's not doxing because that information has always been public. It's the information on the show. We use it all the time to say this is the mailing address for the show. Right? We gave it out for that. But also, more importantly, even when I did show it on the screen at one time in this court records, it was, again, if I remember correctly, I was showing public records. It was no longer his address, according to Kyle. He had moved. So I was like, what the hell does this even matter? What is this stupid accusation of doxing? Because again, that's another word they throw around an awful lot. Oh, someone says I got doxed. I think half the people that use the word dox don't know what the hell the word means because they use it so incorrectly. But that's why I said, well, it was, didn't matter. It was irrelevant. It was old information. Nate Brody, dishonestly, just trying to run the narrative that I was referring to when he had been served. Although that video was weeks later. Maybe months, but I think it was weeks. That is Captain Clippy for you. And that is an actual fact because, again, Kyle had used that video in the legal proceedings. It's still in there. It's still in the ECF, I believe 18, if I'm not mistaken. That he had the transcripts and a link to that video, which is now listed. I have it downloaded, of course, so it doesn't matter. But, so when Nate Brody tries to tell these other content creators that, I was just covering a story, bullshit. I have a long history with him, going back many years before the non-sequitur show. So for him to say, I was just covering the show, bullshit. And for say, I didn't get involved, bullshit. Kyle mentioned his name in the depositions. Go look in the transcripts. So yes, there's a lot more to that than people didn't know about. So again, this is them outright lying. He also tried to publicly falsely accuse me of dox. Sorry. He claims he was just asking a lawyer friend. Guess who that was? If it was doxing, any guess who that was? I already told you. See above, you can't figure that one out. But certainly by implication, seemed to make it appear that I had doxed Kyle. Accusations of doxing is rather tried and true go-to tactic in the group that Mr. Atheist associates with to deflect from any criticism of them. They use that all the time. Look how many people have on that side of the fence. Look how many people, Mr. Atheist and all the ex-co-hosts of the non-sequitur show that Kyle brought on, how many use that word doxing? Do you know how many times I've ever accused anybody of doxing me? I think 0. I don't know what the hell they would dox. I don't know why I would accuse anybody of doxing me. Maybe I think one time I said there was an attempted dox because somebody had tried to accuse me of medical fraud, and so they show this a photo on the screen with my address, which, by the way, was an old address from which I moved on. So it was an attempted dox. But and I think that was ProLib that did that. Now I will go on record. I did think it was Agrippa at the time that did that. I was incorrect about that. Agrippa had done some completely other shady shit, like giving fraudulent financials to the court and helping Kyle with the scheme. But on that particular instance, I found out later, and I do believe it to be the case because he admitted it, it wasn't Agrippa that did that, although I think he was sharing that information, but it was ProLib that tried to report me to Medicare or Medi-Cal, whatever it was, and using my own address and showed it on the screen to dox me. But it was an old address, again. But other than that, what is there to dox with me? I don't give a shit. Look, I've had my Facebook for, I think, since 2007. I use my real name on that. I use my real name on Twitter. I don't know what the hell people were doxing me about, but they use this, again, all the time. Such and such dox me, such and such dox me. It's the same weapon in their arsenal. But I want people to notice that. This is what I want people to see, these patterns of behavior. This is what Chesire and I have been doing on this channel for how long? Showing people how to recognize these patterns of behavior. And go to her channel and watch all her videos on this stuff. She has playlists galore on all this stuff that you can see where she has detailed these types of problematic behaviors. Let's see here. Jimmy would distract by explicitly falsely accusing me of having a crew. his words, and that I somehow spearheaded a campaign of harassment and cyberbullying. You got to be fucking kidding me. I mean, even people that read that were like, what the hell are you talking about, Jimmy? The fans of the Non-Sequitur show were going, what the hell? There was no campaign of harassment. There was no cyberbullying. I didn't spearhead fuck all. First of all, anybody that knows me and knows my subs know that they don't fucking listen to me anyways most of the time. I mean, I probably couldn't even get Chesire to give me a glass of water if I was like, dehydrated, okay? It's like, I don't know this massive crew that I have that'll do anything like that. It just doesn't work that way. We have things that we are better at. If I say, Chesire, can you help me with this art thing? She'll make something for art. She says, hey, Steve, I have this situation over here. Can you weigh in on that? That's it. I mean, nobody goes around saying, hey, I need you to go harass this freaking content creator or comment. Nobody does this. Most will say, hey, look, if you think this video is great, go tell them. And I usually say, look, here's a video that I really like. Let them know. That's fine. If it's a video I think this sucked, I don't even bother to tell people to go watch it. More or less leave a comment. But yeah, that's complete bullshit. Against him and quote, anyone who didn't kiss his ring and publicly attack and disparage Kyle. That's what he said about me. Anybody who didn't kiss my ring and publicly attack and disparage Kyle. When the hell did I ever say that? When the hell did I ever ask anybody to disparage Kyle? When the hell did I ever ask anybody to public attack anybody? People in my audience have been around a long time. They know that was bullshit with Jimmy. That's what I'm saying. The evidence speaks for itself. Because Jimmy had no evidence of any of this. Did he show any evidence of me ever doing this? No. Because it never happened. Not once did he show a single instance of this. Not one follower or subscriber or Patreon or member of the channel, not one of them has ever shown anything of me asking them to do anything like that. It's just mind-boggling because it just doesn't happen. Newsflash, none of that ever happened. None of it. No one ever acted on my behest to, quote, attack anyone. No one ever, I saw, cyberbullied Mr. Atheist. There was no spearheading, no campaign. But all those things are, all those types of hyperbolic and mostly charged words, Jimmy knows worked on his audience to get them riled up, and it does work. Making everyone else the bad guy while Jimmy tries to remain pure as a driven snow. Bad pun? Whatever. I've earned it. Yeah, it's a bad pun. And fun fact, you can change the name Jimmy here to other content creators. It holds true. It holds true. They all use the same techniques. He also said that I demanded an apology from him, which is blatantly untrue. I generally don't demand apologies. I ask for them when I believe they are sincerely due. Now, have I ever demanded for apology? Maybe. I don't remember. Again, somebody might find a Twitter from like 5 years ago where I say, look, I demand you apologize to me. If that happens, fine. I don't recall anything of the sort, but I'm leaving that open. But people know I generally don't do that. I mean, you look at if you look at my Twitter and you go back again, I don't delete tweets either. And you search, apologies. It probably comes up, hey, I'll accept your apology now. Or do you like to apologize for that kind of stuff on my Facebook? If you go there, I've said that a few times. I'm waiting for your apology, right? I may have requested one on Twitter at some point, or may have informed him that I believe I was due one. One was due, but to the Non-Sequitur Show fans. But a request is certainly not a demand. Again, this is another pattern that I see with Jimmy and a lot of his people that go on his channel, a lot of people that co-hosted with Jimmy on his channel and the Non-Sequitur Show, is that they will take something that's here and elevate it to what it's not. A request for an apology is not elevated to a demand. But that's how they work. And I'm not the only one that has noticed this. There's other channels that have noticed that type of behavior as well. But certainly I would say that I've been calling it out for the longest time. Defend, delete, distract. That's Jimmy's playbook that he continues to use even to this day, and he has with his White Knight level defending of Gabbie Hanna's bizarre tirade against YouTuber Rachel Oates over her criticism of Gabbie's poetry, which we'll get into soon here. I know I'm running out of time. While I'm still trying to get a handle on more on that story right now, I can't comment too much other than Rachel Oates has always been kind to me, and I can't imagine any situation that would warrant the things that Gabbie Hanna said about her. I can say, however, it seems to me that Jimmy is using the same excuses to justify his actions to me, believing that and defending a friend, vilifying others, and blocking anyone who criticizes him about it, just like he did to the fans of the Non-Sequitur Show. And if you go watch the video that Fat Sajak did on this topic, you'll see that the pattern is exactly the same. Now, she had about 13 pages of notes. I didn't, and I have about a page and a half, so I'm going to try to go over them really quickly because I want to get this done in a half hour. So give me 1 second here. Got to move things around. So long story short, for those of you guys who may not know what happened, gabbie wrote some poetry and asked Rachel Oates to review it. Now, Rachel Oates is a professional literary critic, for as I understand. She has a background in literature. She's educated. Rachel Oates thought most of it sucked. She thought some of it was good, but most of it sucked. And Gabbie verbally berated Rachel over it. Jimmy decided to white knight for Gabbie, making excuse after excuse after excuse for the completely uncalled for tirade, and sent RO a message, supposedly talking about a tweet from Rachel. But Rachel took it more of him being critical of a review of Gabbie's poetry that Rachel Oates was going to put out. Do I think there was a huge misunderstanding there? Yeah, absolutely. I think it was because Jimmy was so vague when he first messaged Rachel about it. But it was over a tweet. I'll show you the tweet. It was this. It is impossible for poetry to be so. Is it possible for poetry to be so bad that it actually brings down my entire mood and makes my flat messier? Making this video is really, really, really testing every ounce of patience I have. Now, there's nothing wrong with this. This is funny. This is supposed to be a lighthearted, tweet. We all do this. I do this. I do it when I review something in the philosophical community or something like that, and I say, look, this is so damn stupid. I'm getting a headache. I want to bang my head against the wall. I'm losing IQ points. We all do this. Nothing wrong with that. Okay? It doesn't mean that my review is not good. It doesn't mean I don't have very critical things to say about some of the topics that I talk about. And if people want to say, hey, that review sucked, let me tell you why, fine, great, go do that. But this is not what happened in this situation. This was Jimmy deciding to get involved in a situation that he had no business getting involved with. Sounds familiar. And direct messaging Rachel, saying, "Hey," and I'm not going to show the original message, and it doesn't really matter. But it was very, very nondescript. Basically, he was talking about a video. He didn't mention anything about this tweet, and Rachel got the wrong impression, thinking he was trying to coerce her not to put out her video about her critique of Gabbie's poetry. Also, at the time, Rachel was extremely drunk and probably not in the best state of mind. Had a lot of things going on emotionally in her real life. And again, look, if a friend messages you and they're drunk off their ass and it's not getting productive, you tell them, hit me up in the morning. You're too drunk. I have done this with people many times. There are people might be in the live chat or might watch this later on that have been drunk. And you don't have to admit to it, by the way. I'm not asking you to. But it's more than one, I assure you, that I've said, look, you're either drunk or, you're not in the right state of mind. Let's just table this and get back to it, right? Because I don't like having conversations when people are not in their right frame of mind. It just, nothing good ever becomes of it because they'll always, tend to go out of their way to not give principle of charity, right? So, Fat Sajak did again a wonderful video, and I hope she's actually a decent person because again, I'm, promoting her video here. I've been burned before, okay? I've told you I got subscription issues here, right? Instead of commitment issues, I got subscription issues. Basically, in a nutshell, Jimmy put out a video trying to, explain his behavior, and I think it made it 10,000 times worse. Because it was all just self-patronizing, self-aggrandizing, narcissistic bullshit. He starts off, and I'm going to go through my notes real quick. I'm not going to read them verbatim, but just to get through this, to see if you guys can see this when you watch her video. Let me know in the video description what you think. In the comment, that's not in the video description, in the comments after this video is over. But go watch the video and then come back to this video and let me know. I appreciate it. But, Jimmy resents that he has addressed his behavior. Why? He got involved with the situation he should not have gotten himself involved with. He says something like he doesn't like being angry, but he's so passive aggressive that as Sajak had pointed out, anger actually is a good emotion when properly channeled. Right? There's reasons to be angry. I'm angry at the shit that Kyle did with me. I'm angry at the shit that that Jimmy does and that what Nate does. Why? Because they're dishonest people. You know, it doesn't mean like I'm angry. I want to go be violent. I'm not a violent type. I'm the opposite of that. You know, I'm the person that has a couple drinks and I just get real chill, man. I'm not an angry drinker, right? So people, you know, tend to kind of put forward their, you know, more aggressive side or more hidden side when they drink. I just chill, whatever. He missed that his channel's suffering. And his motivation is for money and views because he has people to pay, and I get that. No, I do get that. I'm not even begrudging him for that. However, that is, I think, is his prime motivation. It wasn't because it was his friendship to Gabbie or Rachel that he decided to talk about this stuff. It was because it's now affecting my channel. Therefore, I should address it. No, it should have been addressed a long time ago. You don't wait until it starts affecting your channel. Look, I've lost a lot of subs, right? But I've addressed stuff, and they don't like my answers. That's fine. You know, they unsubscribe. Let me tell you, this isn't LAX. You don't have to announce your departures. But I don't do things on this channel because of money and views. I put out content that I like and that I enjoy doing, and if people want to watch it and they get views out of it and they want to support the channel, then that's great, right? People know I do survive on this channel. I've never made any bones about that. But I've never put out content on this channel just for the fact to get a view out of it or just to get, you know, money out of it. I think that they do. I think they'll fabricate things and create drama for that. That's not what this channel's about. I do think he. Somebody just became a member, I think, or not a member, but subscribed. Thank you. I got a new subscriber. I think he did feign concern for Rachel. It was like, I'm looking out for you, Rachel. Oh, bullshit. You look out for yourself, Jimmy. Then he started, again, I'm just really paraphrasing this as I go through my notes because I want you to get it in your head that when you watch Fat Sajak's video, you'll see what I'm talking about then. So I may not be explaining this fully now, but it's one of those things you'll get later. And if you've already seen this and you know about the situation, then you'll get now. But he did victim blame Rachel. I think that... you know, he says he thinks that Rachel Oates was telling the truth, so not quite a lie, but in some theories of lying, that might be the case. Matter of fact, Chesire and I went over theories of lying in one of our videos, and some theories of lying depends on if the person actually believed it was a lie or not. So he is right on that, but he uses that so passively aggressively, like, well, I don't think she was really lying about it, but, you know, she was lying about it. Let's see here. He says he hates YouTube drama, but he thrives off YouTube drama. I mean, I don't watch most of his stuff, but you know, I see things come up every so often. But how many videos he did on that girl defined thing? That was all drama. I mean, his channel was founded on drama. But anyways, he leaves. People have been leaving comments on videos, and Jimmy just shuts them down. I think on the video that he did as a response to all this, if I'm not mistaken, comments were turned off. Again, I understand sometimes the need for that. I have 1 or 2 videos myself where the comments are turned off for reasons, but I think his reasons are not good reasons. I don't think his reasons are just. He shuts them down because of criticism. I shut them down because of trolling. Big difference. Let's see here. And then he gaslights him too. I love that. I mean, he basically makes it sound like, no, you never left a comment on my video. Yeah, I did. You know, kind of stuff. Wait, did I leave a comment? You know, that's what gaslighting is. You know, questioning your own, you know, reality. That did you do something? And that's a real huge manipulation technique that a lot of that side of the fence uses. And if it works, it works. Hey, look, I'm not gonna sit here and bullshit you and say that I have not been gaslighted before to the point where I go, wait, did I? I don't remember. But that's fine because, you know, and then I have to think it through and say, yeah, I think that I did. Let me go investigate. But yeah, you do question your own reality is because you're like, oh wait, I know I did this, but maybe I'm misremembering, right? Because we all recognize the fact we can misremember, or maybe it was some other content creator or some other person we were talking to. And again, one of the manipulation techniques is to use that thing that happens to all of us. It's part of being human. Let's see here. But you definitely notice that he shuts down communications. He shuts down anybody who asks questions. He'll block anybody. And I love the fact when Fat Sajak was just like, nobody came to you and asked you about your opinion, Jimmy? I did, and got and she shows a picture of Jimmy blocking her. Yeah, that's typical. Yeah, that's very typical. And I was like, when I was watching it, I was like, thinking, Jimmy, you don't need people to come to you for concerns for you to address it a year later. I mean, do the right thing, address it while it happens, especially because you got yourself involved in that situation when you really shouldn't. And the only reason you're addressing it is because now it's affecting your money, and your views. It wasn't for any other reason. It wasn't because you thought you did anything wrong. It's because it started affecting you financially. I hope I don't butcher this name. I'm really bad at pronouncing things. So please, I'm not. Disbulance. How's that? Is that good? Is that close? Disbulance, $2. As a trans girl using the LGBT community, or she didn't say community, but LGBTQ as a shield is low as fuck. I couldn't agree with you more. I think it's beyond morally reprehensible. I have a lot of people in my community that are trans, and people know how much I love and care about their mental well-being, because I know that they have gone through a lot of stuff and how they're treated, and it kills me. And for people like Jimmy to use that as a shield, there's no words for it. And he is not the only one. But again, it's a tried and true method because. And I know I'm generalizing here, but I say things as it is. In my experience, people in those communities are very tend to be emotional people. And that's not a slight. That's not a criticism. If anything, it's actually, I wish I was more emotional in some degrees. It's just how their nature is, and they're very good natured. They want to see the best in people, and they get taken advantage of because of that. Right? And so it bothers me even more when I see people that want to believe the best for people get screwed over by people they look up to. Anyways, let's see here. Thank you for that super chat, though. Let's see here. Jimmy, I noticed Jimmy tends to have toxic friends. Like Nate and GE and Kyle and, some other members of that channel. They all do the same techniques. They're all toxic. He said that in that thing that Rachel made a joke on Twitter, right? That joke I just showed you. But when he had messaged Rachel, there was no mention of any Twitter stuff. It was, hey, Gabbie is upset by this. I want to talk to you about it, something like this. And she took it as, well, if Gabbie's upset by it, she asked me to do a critique of her book. I believe she sent her the book to do the critique, right? And Rachel, and I think very appropriately so, took it as more of him kind of indirectly asking her not to give the review. Now, again, he didn't directly ask her not to, and he even pointed that out. Look, I didn't say that, but he wasn't reading the conversation. He wasn't reading the fact that that's the way Rachel was interpreting it. He was not being charitable, and I don't think that he wanted to be charitable. Again, those of you who have not got, I should say, those of you who are not familiar with that situation, maybe some of this may not make sense, and I apologize for that. I'm trying to get this done very quickly because I want to end this so Dapper and Chesire can do their thing. But at the same time, it's fine because you guys can go watch Fat Sajak video, and I highly implore that you do. And so maybe you'll be motivated to do so by, what's Steve's talking about? Let's go check this out, right? So, because again, I'm up with the information. I want it out there. See, Jimmy says that Gabbie can basically handle her own criticism, but yet he felt the need to step in and White Knight for her. I don't understand that. Why? If Gabbie is this YouTuber, from my understanding, gets a lot of criticism because she seems like a real whatever. She says she's a mean girl. She's a mean girl, I guess. And I'll probably never talk about her again, so I don't care. But why did he White Knight for her? Especially when he said he was only talked to her a few times a year and he was so much closer to Rachel. Why would he then, disassociate himself with Rachel just to suck up to Gabbie? Oh, could it be maybe a popularity contest? Who knows? But I after reading the correspondence between the two of them, I definitely can see how Rachel took it the way she did and thought it was about, her criticism. Absolutely. Let's see here. Here's the worst part, I think. He just assumed things about her videos that they didn't contain constructive criticism. He didn't watch anything. He didn't even ask her about anything. He says he didn't even watch Rachel's stuff, yet they were so close friends. But neither here nor there. I can't watch everything my friends put out either. I watch mostly Cheshire stuff, but I watch things when I can, but it's like, wait a minute here. I didn't quite understand that. It's like, why would you assume that, this was not a constructive criticism thing that Gabbie had asked for Rachel to do, rather than just, jump on Rachel, especially over a tweet. Because he's like, oh, well, I thought it was all toxic because of the tweet. The tweet was a joke, and it seemed to be very harsh. So that's the harsh. This, Jimmy, is the harshest thing you think anyone's ever said on fucking Twitter? Are you out of your mind? That's such bullshit. I mean, come on. I've said worse things than this about some people's philosophy when I did a review, but then I try to be fair in my reviews. But holy crap, man. You're gonna make a huge issue over this? Are you kidding me? Oh, God. It just is unreal. But of course, Rachel, being, again, probably not in the best state of mind. She had been drinking. Jimmy had been very, very vague in what he was talking about. I probably would have taken it the same way that Rachel was thinking he was talking about, the criticism that she was doing for Gabbie. Which, by the way, she was asked to do and what she does professionally. Not white knighting for anybody here, by the way. These are just facts and evidence. So, One Warped Angel, $20 sticker. Thank you. Thanks for being you. I appreciate that. It means a lot. Thank you. That was nice. Wasn't expecting that. No, got to get back on track here. Thank you, One Warped Angel. Let's see here. And I noted there was an incongruence in Jimmy's story on how that he had said that Gabbie was, quote, sick with anticipation. But Gabbie said she never talked to him, and he said she never talked to Gabbie. Or he said he never talked to Gabbie. So how did he, kind of infer that she was sick with anticipation if they never communicated with each other, anything of the sort? Again, why was he even involving himself with this? I don't understand. If Gabbie had said, hey, Rachel, I want you to review my poetry, and Rachel didn't like it, why was he getting involved with that? Look, people review my stuff all the time. Most of my blog stuff, when I write an article, or especially my arguments, I have people review. The Intrigued Feline shits on them all the time. That's what I expect her to do, because she's good at it. She's an editor. She's very good at it, and I appreciate everything she does on that. Chesire edits my stuff, and checks for things. I have other experts that check for my things. And if an expert says, hey, Steve, I really think you messed up on your argument here, what do? I fix the argument. I go, okay, I'm not going to use that argument, right? Why would I ask for their opinion if I didn't want it? Why would you go to somebody to get their opinion and then not want their opinion? None of this made any sense to me. But again, I wasn't aware of this stuff before, and I wanted to take some time to look into this stuff. I didn't know about a lot of this stuff until recently. And again, thank you to Fat Sajak, because she summarized all of this. Again, she did 95% of this video's work on this part of it for me. I'm not going to say otherwise. Jimmy was saying that how much he loved Rachel Oates, and yet he was really totally willing to piss away that friendship for somebody who is an honest person, somebody who is trustworthy, for Gabbie, who doesn't seem like the most liked person on the internet, and probably for good reason, because I watched that tirade she had against Rachel. It was not just. There are just tirades. Don't get me wrong. There's definitely tirades out there to be had, and people that are shitty freaking people that are bullies and narcissists and supporters of some pretty bad people. I get that. Nothing wrong with a good tirade, man. But to Rachel? She's one of the nicest people I ever met. I never heard her talk negative about anybody, and fair criticism is not talking negative. And even if it was, so what? You can have, as again, Fat Sajak pointed out, you can have criticism that doesn't have to be positive. So what? If I say I think your thing sucks, sure, I'm not giving any constructive criticism. I'm just telling you I think it sucks. It's still criticism. It doesn't have to be constructive. But it still gives you the opportunity to go, okay, well, why does it suck? Oh, let me tell you why it sucks, right? Or at least to get to take a second look at his stuff. But like the argument that I have, the atheist semantic collapse argument, I've had experts look at it. I had mathematicians look at it. I've had PhD students look at it. I had Dr. Malik look at it. He sent it to a logistician to have it, checked over. If that logistician comes back and says, hey, I really think Steve screwed the pooch on this, I'm like, okay, well, where can I fix this? Or is it salvageable? And I won't submit that as a paper. I still think it's a good argument. But if I can't prove it using logic, then I can't say that it's something that should be submitted to a journal, right? I still think that that logic person would say, yeah, it's, the argument works, but it's just, you can't, the way you proved it doesn't work, right? Because I can't imagine it not being a good argument, because it's pretty self-evident that it's an argument. And Dr. Oppie argues the same thing, right? Dr. Oppie has argued the same thing that my argument has argued. I just has argued it very formally. Anyways, see, I noted that, getting down to the very end here, I noted that, he had mentioned that Rachel, had been compromised because she had been drinking a lot, probably not in the best state of mind. And again, let me put it out there, people. If you have a friend that has been drinking, and nothing wrong with that, and nothing wrong with venting, but if you see it going south, pause the conversation. Just say, hey, look, wait, I think you're drunk. Get back to me later. This is something that I've done more times than I can count for people in my life. And that's the way I think you go. And I hope they do the same to me. I drink every so often. I haven't been drunk in a very long time, mostly because of my stomach problems. But I tell you what, when Kyle gets arrested, I'm probably going to be shit-faced for days. Okay. But if I start, I'm going on a Twitter rant. Stop me, right? And I assure you, my friends will. I assure you that. Just stop. I tell you, yes. I mean, Chesire will actually fly down here and probably pull my router out personally. But anyways, let's see here. Jimmy says he has receipts, but it's so funny because he thinks those receipts absolve him. No, they don't absolve him of nothing. Nothing that Jimmy showed in his video that he put out to try to explain this absolves him of a damn thing. Where are those receipts? But let's see here. Anyways, I'm going to leave you guys with this because I know we're getting close to the time. And again, I just wanted this information out there in easily digestible form. I like to keep my videos down to 2 hours. But this was a message that Rachel left on, I think it was Fat Sajak's video. And again, I don't know if Rachel ever watches my stuff or even remembers me. But I hope she does. I hope that I did this justice. Again, not knighting for anybody. I think the evidence speaks for themselves. That Jimmy has this problematic behavior. He does everything basically he accuses other people of, but it's just I can't stand the fact that Jimmy has done now to Rachel what he has done to other people. What he's done to me, and I want people to recognize that kind of behavior and see it with him and other content creators that he has surrounded himself with. But I'm gonna leave you guys with this. This is what she has said, and then I'm gonna sign off. She said, again, this was the Fat Sajak's video. Thank you for making this. A couple of points to clarify for you. You're right. I never received any of those last messages from him. I should have noted that. He had said, hey, look, I sent her these messages, but they weren't received, but I know she got them. Well, how do you know this, Jimmy? How do you know she got them? If all the other ones show received, but the ones at the bottom don't show received, I'm not sure how you knew she got them. But here's Rachel in her own words saying that she never received them. And I don't have his phone number, so I don't have any way to contact him, even if I did, because he had asked for her to get in touch with him. I'm not comfortable talking to him alone while he's still friends with Gabbie. Maybe with a neutral mediator it would be okay, but I don't really feel okay talking to him completely in private. I get that. I feel manipulated then, and honestly, I feel like I'm still being manipulated, whether that was his intention or not. You were. I don't yet trust my own judgments and understandings of people's meanings enough to go on talk to him alone. That's understandable, and you should have somebody help you out with that. Absolutely. I found the tweets he was, and by the way, I would volunteer for that if I didn't despise Jimmy so much, but not going to happen. I find the tweets he was angry about last night. I found the tweets he was angry about last night, and I don't know. They weren't great, but I don't think they were as bad, or they're as bad as he was making out in this video. They weren't. They weren't. I'm honestly just sad at this point, but I really appreciate the support from people like you. Thank you. And she is very sincere about that. Again, she showed a lot of support from me back when. I brought her on my channel when I'm guessing she probably had 2,000 subs. And I knew she would be big. I knew she had talent. And I think that a lot of content creators that I've had on this channel and on the non-sequitur show that I've said would be big have done so. Because that's one thing that I think that I do have a good eye for is spawning people with talent that I think that should be exposed to the internet and their talents appreciated. And Rachel was one of those people. Again, I don't really watch a lot of her content because it just doesn't happen to be content that I'm invested in. But sometimes I do. But when she does do the content that I have watched, she's always done a good job. She makes sure her facts are in order. She does it from a very analytical position. And then from her other videos that I've seen where she gets more emotional things, she does things from a very reasonable point of view. And so, I'll leave you guys with that. Take it from it with you what you will. I appreciate you guys watching. Please share this video. Let people know that if they want more answers and questions, by all means, let me know. Okay. Yeah, I'll check my messages after this. So, anyways, I'm gonna send my audience over to go watch, if you guys want, Dapper Dino's charity stream with Chesire Vic. I guess they're playing D&D or something like that. If you give me the link, I'll put it in the video description afterwards. But after that, do me a favor, go watch Fat Sajak's video, go read my Part 1 blog, and please leave comments on this video, giving feedback. I really do appreciate it. Again, I appreciate all you guys have watched and all the members and all the people who have supported this channel. And I'm glad you guys are starting to see the same things I've started to see, the same things that Chesires have started to see, and the same thing that other people from other communities have started to see. So with that, guys, good night, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.